Charlotte, thank you for being here. To the listeners, you're a meditation teacher. And can I ask you since how long you've been teaching meditation?
Um, Not so long, actually. But I'm doing yoga since I was 10.
Whoa.
So meditation was always part of it. So, yeah, it's a bit a hard question. There's not a certain year when I started.
So as I was saying before, meditation is, I would say, the foundation of my mental health. Because if I don't meditate, I can see how much I get lost easily in my thoughts. And when friends ask me, why do you meditate? You just sit there and close your eyes and maybe float. I say, it's not even about stop thinking. It's for me, it's more about not reacting to my thoughts. But a lot of us have just heard about meditation and are not clear what it is. So my question to you is, how will you explain what meditation, or at least the kind of meditation you teach?
The meditations I'm teaching now are all Kundalini Yoga meditations. Because I thought in the Kundalini Yoga are really a lot of meditations, traditional old yogic techniques, not so specific only for Kundalini Yoga, but I do think that Kundalini Yoga is the one yoga that kept them. In the Hatha Yoga, you don't do so many mantra meditations anymore. And in the Kundalini Yoga, it stayed. And it's really technical in the sense that there's a point to it. It's not just sitting and thinking about nothing, because that's the hardest thing to do, maybe. And so I like these. What I studied before is, I think I started in 92 or something with Tao Yoga meditations. And these are a bit similar in technical aspect. There's a lot of knowledge about how the mind works and how you can direct and even control a little bit the mind. Like what you're saying, my thoughts are going everywhere, but how do we direct our thoughts? How do we, what do we know about the mind? You're studying psychology. That's a very different studies. In yogic perspective, the mind is the servant to your soul. I really, really like
Beautiful.
that. Yes.
Yeah.
And since I understood this, I became different myself, because I understood that it wasn't serving my soul, but I was serving the mind. And the mind is so quick, so busy, and I'm kind of running behind it and I'm serving it in that sense. And if I can become quiet in my head and my thoughts are more focused, then suddenly I do hear what my soul wants. So that was one of the big breakthroughs for myself. And this is why I like the, it's called Healing Tao Yoga meditations and the Kundalini Yoga meditations so much, because they help you focus. Your breath is very specific. Sometimes you need to chant, make sound, do mantras. Your eye focus is very different. Oftentimes they ask you to open your eyes, look at the tip of your nose, or your eye focuses at your third eye point, or your focus is down in your belly at your nabi. That's also quite interesting. It's very, it's not just saying sit and observe. I mean, that is very interesting too. But this is kind of shortcut, maybe.
Yes.
Because it helps you to understand. And we do live in a Western world. We do use our thinking and mental abilities a lot. And we kind of do understand things through mental connection, mental knowledge a lot.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like that. It's different. The Eastern way is very different. They are more observing, and what I understand, the biggest difference between like traditional Western, traditional Eastern perspectives is that we here want to go from A to B, and if possible in a direct line,
Yes.
and see solutions. And I mean, that's also a very good thing.
Yeah.
But the traditional Eastern way is see everything circular. Everything kind of goes around, comes around, and yeah, you kind of circle around B, and maybe you get there, maybe you don't, and very, very different.
It's less than reaching the destination. In the East, it's more just walking the path.
Exactly. That's where this expression comes from, because they really do think circular and see also a lot of processes at the same time happening. And we want to have one project done, and we go to the next, and we go to the next. And in the Chinese circus, there was always the man holding the plates, circling the plates on a stick.
Oh, I
Don't
recall
you
seeing this image. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And now makes me think that, he had sometimes 10 and then 15, and then we were like, oh, but this is maybe their way, just holding every plate in the air and having fun with it. And we do one plate and don't have so much fun often also because it needs to be done. So that meditation helps a lot to see the difference, and that there are more possibilities.
Yeah, I recall having this conversation with this monk, and I was asking him how much he meditates. This is a stupid question, because it's not how much you meditate, it's how deep you go into meditation. But nevertheless, I was curious how the life of a monk is and so forth, and I was asking all these questions, and I was intrigued because he could actually had all this time of his daily routine devoted to calming his mind and listening to his soul. And he told me, if you become a monk, you can also do that. But you're studying, you will have to work, you will have to do all these things. And for you, it's going to be way harder. So for us, we are referred as lay people that are not in the Buddhist, they're not monks, it's lay people. It's way harder to accomplish things, to go from A to B, and at the same time, see things as a coming and going, as a continuous cycle. So how would you say we can find a way to manage our task, to hold us accountable for our responsibilities, maybe for school or family or work, and at the same time find some space for ourselves and to listen to our souls? Is meditation a way that...
Oh, yes, of course. Yeah. What, when you study the theory a little more in the Eastern philosophy also, I did study a lot of macrobiotics, and there's more the Japanese philosophy of how to live life. That's interesting. The Eastern way of life has a lot of recommendations how to live a happy life. And in the yoga tradition, you also have this. So where I come from, like my meditation comes from the yoga tradition. There's also 7 steps to happiness. And very interestingly, that in the Japanese and in the yogic tradition, it starts with commitment. And I always thought that was a bit of a hard word, because for me that involves discipline and, being committed, focused, and going and A to B. Huh? And now I see it more as choice and sticking to your choice, because you do make choices in life. And if you're lucky enough, these choices come from your soul. And when you're young, you decide to go and study, for example. And the spark often is the amount of fun you think you will get from it. You choose to study, or you choose to work, or you choose to travel around the world. But you choose that one thing that you think, oh, this sparks me, this ignites me, and if I only could achieve ta-da-da-da. And you have a big smile on your face and you think, well, that's the soul talking. That's the soul talking. There's nothing more to it. That's your soul talking to you through your heart, through your fun. And then you make a commitment, because then you think, yes, if I only could achieve, be a fantastic psychologist, understanding the mind completely. Ta-da! And that's the commitment you make. That's the choice you make. So I think the first step is always remembering the choice you make and sticking to it, not doubting. Doubt is the worst thing that you can do. So sticking to that choice is a very important step to happiness. It's the first step. And because it's the foundation, you have made this choice. And of course you can change your choices, but not because you have a little bit of, that things don't flow so easily. You have a bit of challenges, or even worse, there's a blockage on the road. Just stick to your choice. Stick to the first happiness. And then, of course, there's challenges. And of course, the mind starts to work. And
well, that's really insightful. Because I see a lot of confusion in my life. And I think many of us arises when what we're doing is not aligned with what we want. Maybe we want to become psychologists, but we're studying law. We are studying law. Or we want to travel the world and see different cultures, but we are finding ourselves stuck in the same job.
But that's the interesting thing. And that's when I said, when you're lucky enough, and that's the environment also where you have been brought up in. Were you allowed, were you educated, raised to be able to make a choice of your heart, of your soul? And not to say that your parents did a bad job, but a lot of parents just don't think that as a very important educational point. They think about different things. Oh, he needs to get a good job, he needs to get an education, he needs to succeed in life. Yes, but where do you base this on? So what happens, what you're seeing is that sometimes you get confused when you're like younger, in your 20s or so, because you think you want to travel the world, but you're studying psychology, I don't know, or medicine. And what I want to say is that sometimes your mind doesn't help you. It fantasizes and it goes a little bit wild. And why do you think you want to travel the world? And why are you doing something else? And that's a very interesting question, because if then you can go back to some kind of silence, or silence inside is also sometimes swimming in the ocean and feeling the sun on your body, and this feeling of happy, really in the moment. And then in these moments because that's your soul speaking again. That's the luck you need. That's the luck you need to search for yourself, because in these moments you know what your soul wants. And then if traveling around the world is just a fantasy because it looks so nice from others, or if it's really your calling. And then you go back Because if you realize this, you go back to your original choice, your commitment, and then you feel the spark in it again. And you don't let yourself be distracted from the mind. Because the mind is quick, is so quick. And it makes fantasies, it makes stories. Yeah.
Yes, I am this concept that we equate in our society that being alone is bad. Being alone is it's a bad thing because we see constantly in social media everybody hanging out. But there's a different type of loneliness, which is solitude. And solitude, it's not necessarily bad because, as you say, when we are away from others people, voices, influences, from social media, from all these informations, and we just get swim in the sea, I love that image, or walk in a forest and we're alone. Then
Exactly.
we hear better ourselves.
Yes. Yeah, my yoga teacher helps me a lot with, it's kind of my spiritual teacher. And, not kind of, I don't know why I say that, because spiritual teacher sounds strange for some people. And we talk a lot about this feeling of being alone and loneliness. And as I understand it, as I really feel it now also, is you come as a soul into this place we call Earth to have an experience, to be here, and I don't know, maybe you know your purpose, maybe you don't, but you did come. But you as a soul are one, you are by yourself. This is number one actually also. And the one has strength in it, and what you see, the solitude is very strong, like a rock, like a base. And it has a side to it that is the loneliness. And you experience the loneliness when you travel forward, because you cannot stay only your soul. That's a bit like with the monks in the monastery in the mountains. That's beautiful. They really go back to the one, and they stay in the one. But they do have a community around them, and they help each other. The one cooks and the other one cleans, and so that they can be so much in this oneness. So we experience ourselves also as being together then, as one. But what belongs with it and kind of automatically is part of it is the loneliness and the longing for community, for partnership, for friendship, for exchange with others, because that is also why you came. You didn't come to be just a soul standing alone on earth. So there's an inherent, like you inherit it, but like from like far away, and it's innate. You were born with it. This sense of being also a little bit separated, and there's a sadness with it. And if we kind of acknowledge that sadness and acknowledge that it's just part of being born, then it becomes really interesting, because then your soul kind of relaxes. And, I don't know if your soul can relax, but you relax because you kind of feel like, oh, yeah, okay, we all have this. We all have this. And if I meditate and I'm sitting with this, then I can live with it quite or much easier than if I am not aware of it. So this is what meditation does the most, is helping you to become a conscious human being instead of a subconscious or unconscious human being. Because the more conscious you are of these things, the more it helps you in moments of need or in moments of true sadness or anger. Because you realize, oh, wait a minute, what am I doing? Can I go back? Can I observe myself again? Can I observe the situation? And you bring consciousness in. You bring breath in, That's why breathing is so important. Because when you say something to me and I go like, wow, what are you saying? And that's, I don't know if your parents taught you, my parents always said, first count to 10, and then react. But there's so much wisdom in that. Yeah, my mother always said that, first count to 10. I was like, no, I don't want to count to 10. And of course, you have this energy as a child. But there's so much wisdom in it because there's breath in it. And if we breathe, we call in our consciousness. We call in our soul. Help me, I'm here, I'm experiencing this. And you don't need help from others, you need help from your inner truth. Okay, I'm really angry. Okay, I'm really sad. Can I deal with it? Do I need help with it? Because we can ask for help, of course. Do I call a friend? Am I going out into the woods? Oh, okay, that helps. And then you see the situation differently and you make conscious actions or, realistic actions. Yeah.
Oh, yes. We're so impulsive. I am very impulsive. And if somebody wants to start meditation and is really lost with all these yogis, all these techniques, what will you say it's the easiest way the first step to take?
The first step is go out and find something. Also when it's an app, because there's really good apps nowadays. And stick with the one that makes you joyous. The one you like. Yes. Because that's a good entrance. Because the joy is there to help you continue. And it doesn't matter which one. Doesn't really matter. And then when you get into the habit, because that's also a step to happiness, continuing good habits. Meditation is a good habit, I would say. And because of the joy, you can keep it up. And because you keep it up, you start exploring. When you think, oh, this is a Buddhist meditation. Oh, this is a breath meditation. And you start understanding that with meditation, it's almost like with cars. There's so many different ways. Yeah, so that would be my advice. Really, just start and have fun with it.
Okay.
And that's nice in the sports center here in Nijmegen that you have the opportunity to just walk in, do it.
I was so excited to see that there was a meditation course, and I was like, yes. And also, it was full initially, then a spot was available, and I'm glad I came. Training meditation with you is changing a lot how I meditate alone, because usually what I did was follow some guided meditation on apps, but I also like to do a lot just sitting 30 minutes and observing. And but now I started to do 5 minutes, maybe Navi breath. Then I'm doing this one, this exercise you taught us for addiction, and some breaths. It's called fire breathing. No.
Yeah, breath of fire.
Breath of fire. I also do that, and I also started getting more aware of these points. These chakras, Nabi in the heart and in the middle eye. So sometimes I touch them. I do some massage, and my meditations are really they're confusing. I lack focus, but I'm getting all the tools in
exactly. See it as I don't know. Beginning of learning something, first you need to know all the different parts before it comes together. You're making all these different parts, and then you can build with it. And just again, do with what makes you fun. I mean, sitting for 30 minutes and observing, that's wonderful. That's very good practice. So but sometimes when you're overexcited or really confused, sitting is very hard to do. And then it's nice to have Nabi breath because it makes you do something. So it helps you refocus.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, there are different types of meditation that maybe serves us differently.
Yes.
Yeah, I haven't.
And what in the yoga tradition is done a lot is deciding to do something for a longer period of time and then doing the same thing for the same amount of time every day. And you can do that for 11 days, but you can do it also for 40 days. And 11 days is really nice to start, and it's good training. And 40 days is like also a biblical number. 40 is always everywhere. And they say it then changes really a habit. So you really, because the nervous system starts to change. Your neurons make different paths. So if you decide what you say for 30 minutes every day, I sit, and you do that for 40 days. And you can do different things at a different time, but like every morning or every evening. It doesn't have to be the same time in the day, but it usually helps your body and your mind to adjust to it. And you do it for 11 days. And then you do it for 40 days. So this is making the chaos less. Yeah. Because you commit to one meditation, you learn to know it really well, because it's not nice, especially when you do 40 days. There's days you don't want to do it, really don't. And so how do you deal with it? And what do you gain from doing it still? And if you cannot do it, can you sit for 30 minutes and just sit on your cushion and don't do the meditation, but sit, because you committed to these 40 days.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's an interesting.
Charlotte, thank you for, I think we're running out of time.
Yes. Thank
you for joining us, and I truly enjoyed listening to you. I believe meditation. So I'm someone who struggled a lot with anxiety and all these emotions and thoughts, negatives, so many, even these days. And I've tried cold baths and breath works and a lot of sports, but for me personally, and again that's personally, meditation is always the most fun and the most useful that I can find.
That's it. The most fun. That's the key. That's the key. Yeah, that's the key. Good. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for asking. And I think it's really, I love it, the path you're on. Just keep going. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
I will.
Yes. We'll meet again and we'll see each other.
Yes.
And I'll help you where I can.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Giovanni.